Today we spoke about Napoli's Victor Osimhen and Romelu Lukaku. Napoli is heavily desperate to get Victor off their books to secure Antonio Conte's favorite forward, Romelu Lukaku, and it would be so amazing to get him gone and then bring in an elite forward up top, because that would mean Chelsea is finally talking my language. And we're going to talk about him in this video yet again because there are some further breaking updates. We're also going to talk about Conor Gallagher, a certain forward from Bundesliga, and I'm also gonna give you my thoughts around our new away kit. So before we continue any further, as usually, if you want to be a legend for me, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my page, and hit that notification bell down below so you never miss when the content drops, because we are on the road to 500 subscribers. So let's get in to the breaking reports, and the first one is from David Ornstein. Napoli in ongoing talks with Chelsea to sign Romelu Lukaku, while discussion between the clubs is also taking place about a move for Victor Osimhen in the opposite direction. Lukaku would be a permanent move, whilst Osimhen could actually be a season-long loan with an option to buy. And Jacobs is continuing further with some further detail. Osimhen wants Chelsea over PSG if club-to-club agreement can be reached. That is massively that the player prefers us, and we kind of know that he wants Premier League. He looks up to many players that plays for Chelsea. One of them is of course Didier Drogba, and he wore that Chelsea kit when he was younger. Is a picture on that. Continues further. Napoli have raised the possibility of a deal becoming an obligation to buy if Chelsea should reach Champions League. But then there were also some contradictory reports from Di Marzio that Napoli do not like the loan option for Osimhen. As a baseline, they would work with £58 million plus Romelu Lukaku. Now for me, whatever the final negotiations are, the final fee, or if it's a loan move, I'm just happy with first of all getting rid of Lukaku. We will save massively on wage bills. We're getting rid of a player that has been impossible to getting rid of, and we're getting in an elite striker that actually wants to be here and could hopefully deliver for us when it comes to finishing those chances. And he's so dangerous inside the box, as I'm always stressing. A very fast forward, and he can do better in the link-up play of course, but if we're just talking about, if we continue talking about the deal, I think it could be perfect if we either have to pay only £58 million and they getting Lukaku as well, because first the release clause was around 112 to 120 million pounds. Now they almost asking for 40-45% less of the money they asked from the beginning. So that is a massive difference, which means we're saving a lot of money. I would also like the season loan option, because then we could get an answer on whether Osimhen is actually fitting us here, if it actually works in Enzo Maresca's system, and if he's going to score goals. If he's not delivering and Enzo doesn't like him, well then we could just terminate the loan at the end of the season and not trigger the buy option in case we won't reach Champions League football. However, if we're reaching Champions League football, there are negotiations here that we have to then trigger the buy option fee. Now, I think this sounds pretty realistic and good for all parties involved. Everyone would be happy. Lukaku would be happy, probably Osimhen, Napoli, hopefully Chelsea would be happy. I hope the board is making the right choice here. You can just go and take Osimhen. He's literally there. You won't get another chance in the future. It's now or never. and every top team has an elite striker up front. He might not have the brightest year with Napoli last season, but that was the same case for the whole team. But before that, under Spalletti, he reached as the third highest goal scorer in the Italian league in the history. So let's not forget that. That's around Victor Osimhen. I will take him in a heartbeat, and we're going to continue to see if the story is evolving in the coming days. So let me know your thoughts if you would sign Osimhen or not. And we know that Chelsea released their away kit for a few days ago, where it was Malo Gusto, Tosin, Mudryk I think, and Jackson posting in it. And Chelsea is kind of referring it to an ice cold look, sort of guava ice style. And what that means, I don't know, but honestly I think the color looks so refreshing. It fits so well with the orange and blue, and for me this is 8.5 out of 10 in terms of how it looks. I like the bluish that is up here in the neck. I will give it 9 out of 10. I think my rating will go higher depending on how the new sponsor will look on the shirt, but it looks so clean. Let me know your thoughts, what you think around the kit. Now we're gonna continue the story around Conor Gallagher and Atletico Madrid, and Fabrizio Romano is coming with the exclusive. Atleti and Chelsea are now in direct talks for Conor Gallagher deal. Negotiations on the way for package worth around 35 to 40 million euros plus add-ons included, requested by Chelsea. Gallagher is on top of Atleti's list as revealed in May, and is now getting closer. So we know that Atleti has been heavily interested in Gallagher now for many weeks, and Diego Simeone can't wait to get him in the red-white shirt. And honestly, for me it's sad. Gallagher is Chelsea through and through. I wasn't sure about whether he was good enough for Chelsea in these first years, but last year he definitely convinced me he is. He improved in so many areas. He was always available. He's playing with the Chelsea badge with pride. He's always happy to be a Chelsea player, and he gave everything he could in every game. And despite that, it wasn't enough for the owners to keep him, because they only want the money, the pure profit. That is what's matter, not what the manager wants, not what the players want. Financially aspects of the game is coming first before the football side, which I think is really depressing in my opinion. And if he were to leave, it makes me sad, of course. I love all these guys that playing for Chelsea with all they got, but this is what's happening now. And if he were to move, I think Atleti would be the best option for him. I think it's going to suit in there like a T in their style of playing. And it's definitely, as I joked about in previous videos, that it would be Diego Simeone's bulldog out there in La Liga. So I have been so happy seeing the development of Gallagher last season. There are things in his game, of course, he has to improve upon. But every player doesn't have the flair and also need those workhorses out there, and he definitely is that. And if you're looking at his stats, FBref, he's ranking every green, literally, in here in the percentile, as you can see. And he was also Premier League's best player when it came to winning possession high up in the field. And if you're looking at these detailed stats from Sky Sports or what it is looking absolutely insane. You can see here ranking second in the world for possession won in the final third too. He was having those sort of N'Golo Kanté vibes in him. But if we're going to talk about the fee then to Atleti, first it was reported that we were going to receive, that we want him around £50 million. I don't think that is realistic because his contract is going out in 1 year's time. We want to sell him, and the longer the transfer window goes on, the more the price is going to drop slowly. A player's value is at the peak of the beginning of a transfer window in general, and at the end on the deadline day if many clubs is desperate to get the player. But are we really going to hold out for the deadline? I think that's unnecessary. Better to cash in now if they want to sell him. I think 35 to 40 million euros would translate to 30 million pounds, and if you're including add-ons there, I think that is fair, to be honest. It's better to get in the money as quickly as possible and reinvest it into the team. But in my opinion, I think it's really sad news. I would love to keep Gallagher. Let me know how you feel. The last story is around a Bundesliga forward from Hoffenheim, who is by his name Maximilian Beier. Now, he's a versatile attacker that can play up front alone. He can play as the second striker in the number 10 and as a left winger. But for me, he's more like this second striker, like in Nkunku. He's not someone that's going to lead the line by their own. They could, but I don't think it's their best abilities. But this story is coming from Plettenberg and Sky Sports. Chelsea and Aston Villa have submitted concrete offer for the 21-year-old Hoffenheim striker Maximilian Beier. The player has a 30 million euro release clause, which would be around 25-26 in pounds. Now, what do I think about it? Personally, I think it's an unnecessary money to spend. I'm not in favor in buying these half hybrid strikers. If we're gonna get a striker, I want a proper one now. I want Victor Osimhen. If we're gonna bring in a winger, I want someone that is purely a winger. Now, Beier seems to have a very promising season. He contributed with 16 goals, 1 assist in Bundesliga. Very impressive when it comes to pressing in the front, winning back possession. If you're looking at FBref, he's ranking in the green for a lot of things. It looks very promising in successful take-ons, touches in the opposition penalty box, in terms of progressive passes. You can even see here his defensive side of the game in terms of tackles, interceptions, blocks. He's good at finishing, creating shots for himself too. Looking at his lineups at Hoffenheim, he either starts behind the striker or alongside a big target forward or an advanced forward. And if you're looking at the heat map, he mostly likes to operate on the left hand side-ish. So he seems to be talented, but is he necessarily the one we need for the team to upgrade? Let's say we didn't have Nkunku, then I would bring him in probably. Or if it means we potentially get rid of someone else. But I would prefer splashing the money on a winger instead. We have the option on Nico Williams. That looks absolutely impossible in the current moment. But we can spend it on a Chiesa, Somerville, or some other wingers that is great out there. So let me know how you feel around Maximilian Beier too. Is this someone you would bring in? I think he seems to be very talented, but is he the priority to upgrade his squad? That's where my doubts is. I will have other priorities if I were to decide here. So that's all for the latest transfer stories. A long video, but there are so many updates in the current moment. It's difficult to cover every one of them. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I see for more videos dropping this week, and I'm out. Peace.